everyone, and welcome to week 32. One of the new devices that we added to the rack in Reason version 5 is the Dr Octo Rex loop player. Now, I've seen on our forums that there's been a little bit of confusion about what this device is capable of, and some people actually thought it was capable of playing up to 8 Rex files simultaneously. This week I'm going to show how you can set up a Combinator using multiple Dr Octo Rex devices so you can play multiple Rex files at the same time. The way the Dr Octo Rex device works is that you can load up to 8 Rex files into the 8 slots, and only one slot can be playing. You can either play the entire Rex loop from a slot, or even go down to a 16th note resolution using the trigger next loop parameter, and play just a single slice from a slot, and then switch it to a different slot by automating the loop slot selector buttons here. But we will save that for another tutorial. There are different ways that you can trigger Rex loops, and I'm going to show how you can trigger the loops from MIDI notes on a keyboard and also select them using the loop slot automation. The idea here is that I want to be able to use the Dr Octo Rex as a sort of a live trigger to change to different parts of a song with multiple tracks playing, like drums, bass, and guitar. As you can see in this Dr Octo Rex, I have a few drum loops loaded into slots 1 through 3. When I press play on the transport, the loop slot that is selected will play that loop. By selecting a different slot with the trigger next loop set to bar, it will wait until the start of the next bar and then play the next loop that I selected. If I want to play the loop slot selection from a MIDI keyboard, I can use notes E0 to B0 on the keyboard. These notes will play a loop slot in a never-ending loop mode until the next loop is selected. To stop the loop from playing, you press note D#0. By creating a Combinator with a few Dr Octo Rex devices, I can use the notes from E0 to B0 to play multiple Rex loops simultaneously, since all the devices that are contained in a Combinator will be triggered at the same time. For this example, I have some drums from a loop library and some bass guitar and guitar parts that I recorded myself, and then I loaded into Recycle and saved as Rex loops. The way I set my Combinator up is to create a 6x2 line mixer first. Then I created a bunch of Dr Octo Rex devices. The song I was working on had an intro, a verse, and chorus parts. I loaded the intro drums, bass, and guitar parts into the first slot of each Dr Octo Rex. But since there were no heavy guitar parts in the intro, I just left that slot on this Dr Octo Rex blank, so when I trigger it, I don't hear anything on this device. Then I followed the same process for the next 2 slots on each device until I had the 3 song sections set up to be triggered by loop slots 1 through 3. Now, when I play E0 on my controller, the intro part, which is loop slot 1, plays on all of the Dr Octo Rex devices. It will keep on playing until I play the next note to trigger the verse, which is F0 on the keyboard, and will wait until the start of the next bar since I set trigger next loop to bar. And the same goes for the chorus. stop the playback, I can either play D#0 or any of the remaining loop slots that are empty. I also set up some knobs and buttons in this Combinator to give me some control over the volume of the parts and also the ability to mute or unmute parts of the song. And now I have a Combinator that is all set for me to either play the parts in a live performance, or I could record what I play so I could trigger song sections with multiple Rex files and have them play back in the sequencer. Using this technique will allow you to use Reason as a live performance tool and also have some fun with the arrangement of a song in real time. If you have any questions on how I set things up or how to customize it a bit more, please feel free to send me an email. Well, that's it for this week, and again, I'm James Bernard from Propellerhead Software, and I will see you all next week with another tip. Bye.